But when you think through an innovation lens in the broadest sense, what's the right role for government? Like, what is the role? Where should government be a player and where should it be hands off? What's ideal in your mind?
Sure. A lot of the time, the best thing that government can do is just get out of the way.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in this video, I'm reacting to some clips of Elon Musk speaking with the Wall Street Journal, discussing his thoughts on the role of government and more. So let's get into the video. But first, hey guys, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. That is an obnoxiously good return on your investment. I mean, really, deposit $100 and you'll end up with, at minimum, $21 worth of stocks, a 21% ROI on your money. And if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
You've spoken often in your career about how important it was for you as a young entrepreneur and innovator to come to America. And you've said there's no other country where you could have achieved what you've achieved today.
They don't call it the land of opportunity for nothing. As somebody who could choose to live anywhere on planet Earth, have complete financial freedom, and I'm not tied down to any one location, the United States is my destination. I'm planning to move there and live there over the long term, putting the wheels in motion for that early next year. I'd love to know, for those of you who've been born in the United States or currently live there, do you agree that really it is the country with the most opportunity? And for those of you outside the United States, how do you feel about this? Do you feel that the United States would offer more opportunity than where you currently live?
When you look at the US today, the landscape, would that still apply in 2020? And are we broadly as a society doing everything we should be doing to foster that same environment that brought you here?
Yeah, well, I think U.S. is still great with respect to innovation and fostering entrepreneurship. Still great. I think we don't want to be complacent, and we want to say, okay, how can we make it better over time? And I think we want to be cautious about the gradual creep of regulations and bureaucracy. The rules and regulations are immortal, and if we keep making more every year and do not do something about removing them, then eventually we will be able to do nothing. This is very important, and I think not well appreciated. This is sort of like the slow boil of the frog. You know, his frog doesn't jump out because it gets just slightly hotter each year. We should be aware of this, I think, particularly at the state level.
Well, when you think through an innovation lens in the broadest sense, what's the right role for government? Like, what is the role? Where should government be a player and where should it be hands off? What's ideal in your mind?
Sure. A lot of the time, the best thing that government can do is just get out of the way.
Bravo, Elon, well said. I really do agree on this point. I tend to find, now, there may be exceptions somewhere on planet Earth, but from my experience and my understanding, government, generally speaking, tends to be slow, cumbersome, inefficient, sometimes completely incompetent, bureaucratic, and just not great at actually making things happen that need to happen. When was the last time you ever heard of a government project coming in ahead of schedule or under budget? Please let me know in the comments if this has ever happened anywhere on this planet, ever, in the history of government, ever.
And so I would say that's the default, probably the best thing to do. Then after that would be ensuring that there are not artificial monopolies, that there is a fertile ground for startups, and because what can happen over time is that you can get regulatory capture by large companies, where they influence the regulators and the legislators to favor their situation, and then you have a forest of redwoods, and you just can't the little trees can't grow. So we really want to have an environment that tends to favor smaller companies and startups. The big companies really don't need the support, but they will generally try to work the system to establish a monopoly of some kind. We should be wary of that. In general, it's like I think we could consider changing the way we think of things from, say, capitalism versus communism. I apologize for the long answer, but I think this is kind of important. capitalism versus communism, and think more in terms of feedback loops. So, is a given organization, does a given organization, government or commercial, have good feedback loop for the customer?
This is a very important point from Elon Musk, who, by the way, has over 40 million Twitter followers with whom he regularly interacts, solicits feedback, gets ideas, etc. In fact, most of the features included in Tesla's Cybertruck actually came from a Twitter thread in which Elon Musk asked Tesla fans and customers, what features would you like to see in a Tesla pickup truck?
Whether it's the people as a whole or whoever the customers are. And if you've got like a duopoly or oligopoly, they're generally going to have a weak response to their customer. And if they're a monopoly, they're going to have the weakest response to the customer. And the reason that government, I think, is often the worst at responding to the customers being the people is that they're a monopoly that can't go bankrupt, or usually cannot go bankrupt. So there's not really a cleansing process for a government short of a catastrophe. So, I mean, if you want to complain about the DMV, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Another great point here from Elon Musk. I mean, who do you complain to if a government organization is making major errors, misallocating or misusing resources, has repeatedly made similar mistakes, is completely incompetent, unqualified for the job? The answer? No one really. And yes, I know there's official channels. The point I'm making is no one gives a fuck. If you complain to the government, it's like, yeah, cool story, bro. Next.
Well, I think this is not a Silicon Valley problem. It's a general problem. I mean, if you look at, say, how many candy companies are there? Like, Big Candy is like consolidated into like 3 companies or something, and they also own all the dog food and the baby food. So it's like, when's the last time there was some good candy? What's the forcing function for a new candy bar? I haven't seen one in ages. So we got to watch this like consolidation that ends up resulting in lower responsiveness to the end customer. And like I said, it's like, you can think of like, in the limit, government is simply the largest corporation.
Yeah.
So there's some people, I think it's a false dichotomy to look at government and sort of industry as separate. Government is simply a corporation in the limit. It is the ultimate corporation with a monopoly. But then as you get closer to, like I said, a monopoly, as the feedback loop gets weaker and less responsive to the customer, that's where you have something which does not maximize the happiness of the people, which should be our objective overall. It's government's responsibility to establish the rules of the game and then ensure that those rules are properly enforced. Like, it's sort of like the referees on the field, and it's like, if there's like football or something, then you got the rules and you got the referees. You got to make sure the rules are the right rules and the referees are enforcing the rules. I think that's an important role for government to ensure that the rules are correct and that the incentives are what we actually want them to be for, like I said, the long-term maximum happiness of the people into the future. Where I think government does not do a great job is when they want to not just be a referee on the field, they want to be a player on the field. This does not end up in a good situation.
Picking winners and losers, that kind of thing.
I mean, effectively, government incentives do favor. Like, you're going to say, like, what are the rules of the game? This is obviously an imperfect analogy, but I do think it is a pretty good one. That you want the government to be carefully focused on ensuring the rules of the game are what we actually want them to be. That we're getting rid of old rules. This is very important, which is not occurring. And that the rules are enforced such that we have ethical behavior of companies. Now, there are times when you have an unpriced externality, such as the CO2 capacity of the oceans and atmosphere. So then, if that is not priced in effectively, then you can get behavior in industry behavior that does not that we think is arguably not good for the environment or not good for the future of the planet.
One of the many reasons to be thankful for Tesla, whose mission, which they are successfully achieving, is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Because Tesla has created such incredibly high value, compelling products, they have literally forced the entire automotive industry to face 2 choices. Build EVs that maybe in the future might have a hope of kind of competing with Tesla, or go bankrupt. No government intervention necessary.
Most of the time, provided pricing is correct, you will see correct behavior from private industry. So, that's like one example where if we effectively price carbon, we'll see the right behavior, and then the government does not need to try to pick technology winners and losers. They can simply incent the outcome. I think it's incredibly important that government focus on incenting the outcome, not the path.
I think this is a great place to wrap up. Elon and I are on the same page relating to government, and just some final closing thoughts. Tesla is the anti-government, and I don't mean that they're against the idea of government. I mean everything about Tesla, the company, is the polar opposite about government. Tesla is lean, efficient, intelligent, fast-moving, resourceful, and government tends to be slow, bloated, inefficient, incompetent, and just plain embarrassing. All I can say is thank fuck for Tesla. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.